Wingless Dreamer presents 5 types of lesser-known rhetorical devices. But first, what are rhetorical devices? Rhetorical devices are techniques that the speaker or writer uses to create an effect on their audience, such as evoking emotion or persuading someone of a particular viewpoint. So without further ado, let's dive into these 5 lesser-known rhetorical devices. Number 5. Lightities. You've very likely heard of what a hyperbole is, but did you know that there's a device essentially opposite of hyperboles? While hyperboles are exaggerations, lightities are understatements that often use double negatives. By stating a negative, lightities further affirm the positive to either emphasize a point, add comedic effect, or diminish a harsh observation. For example, in Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare uses lightities to highlight the extent of Mercutio's injury. After fighting with Tybalt and sustaining an injury, Mercutio says, "No, 'tis not so deep as a well, nor so wide as a church door, but 'tis enough, 'twill serve. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man." Here, Mercutio seems to downplay his injury by saying it wasn't as deep as a well or wide as the church door, when in reality he received a fatal injury. Obviously, there is no injury that would be that deep or wide, but Mercutio making that statement adds slight comedic effect that is characteristic of his witty self. Additionally, lightities are also used in colloquial speech, where people describe things as not half bad to mean said thing was good. Number 4. Dysphemism. You've heard of euphemisms, but have you heard of dysphemisms? Even though you might not have heard of this term, you've likely heard it used in your daily life. A dysphemism is essentially the opposite of a euphemism. Instead of a pleasant term used in place of a harsher term, which is what a euphemism is, a dysphemism uses a harsh or unpleasant term in place of a neutral term. It can be used to critique, express disdain, or show sarcasm, and use of dysphemisms can convey a stronger emotional tone motivated by the speaker or author's contempt or fear for a particular subject. An example of a dysphemism would be when talking about death. Death here would be considered a neutral term. Whereas people would use "he passed away" as a euphemism, someone who wants to use a dysphemistic term would say he's 6 feet under. While it may be used colloquially, it can also be seen as more crude or insensitive. Number 3. Chiasmus. Chiasmus occurs when words, grammatical structures, or concepts are repeated in reverse order. It is most commonly used in poetry and screenwriting because its unique repetition has an impactful structure that gives one's writing depth and even rhythm. The word chiasmus comes from a Greek word that means crossing or a diagonal arrangement. John Milton, in his famous epic poem, Paradise Lost, makes use of chiasmus when he writes, "The mind is its own place, and itself can make heaven of hell, a hell of heaven." Milton creates contrasting and parallel concepts, showcasing his message of the power of one's mind. By using chiasmic phrases, heaven of hell and hell of heaven, to convey the idea that we have the power to shape reality using our mind, it draws from 2 drastically different places that each carry immense significance and imagery. Number 2. Aposiopesis. Ever heard someone say, "Get out or else"? That's an example of an aposiopesis. It is a sudden, abrupt stop or breaking off in a sentence, almost as if the speaker is unable to continue. The use of aposiopesis is especially used for dramatic effects, highlighting the speaker's heightened emotions such as passion, fury, or being overwhelmed. The pause also allows the reader to fill in with their own interpretation, immersing them into the speaker's state of mind. In The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Mark Twain uses aposiopesis in the scene where mischievous Tom is hiding from his Aunt Polly. He writes, "She looked perplexed for a moment, and then said, not fiercely, but still loud enough for the furniture to hear, 'Well, I lay if I get hold of you, I'll—'" The sudden pause after "I'll" is where aposiopesis is used. Not only does it convey Aunt Polly's exasperation at Tom's endless antics, but it also leaves room for the reader's own imagination. It adds a humorous effect and dramatizes the situation, where the reader can come up with their own ideas on what Aunt Polly. Number 1. Synthesis. And last but not least, we have synthesis. Synthesis is both a rhetorical device and a poetic form. With synthesis, words are scattered and entangled to create confusion, obscurity, or other effects. It is especially a favorite with Latin poets, such as Virgil's use of it in Aeneid. In Aeneid, word order is interlocked and follows the ABAB format. Another example of synthesis is in Alexander Pope's Essay on Man, where he writes, "When earthquakes swallow, or when tempests sweep, towns to one grave, whole nations to the deep." Here, Pope scrambles the order of his phrases to illustrate the chaotic and ravaging nature of these natural disasters. Whereas the standard form would be "when earthquakes swallow towns to one grave, or when tempests sweep whole nations to the deep," the synthetic format it was written in conveys more depth and is more memorable because of the rhyme between sweep and deep. How many of these are you familiar with? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Wingless Dreamer for more hidden gems in literature. Thanks for watching!